Welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful day in the villages, and this is the 11 o'clock Friday class. We are working in book number 134. The song we're doing today, oh, here comes somebody else. The song we're doing today is The Way We Were, and it is in other books. It's in the bluish green book, 100 Years of Song. I think he said page 187. And it's page 278 in the book number 134, and it's also in the movie book. So, and it may possibly be in other ones as well. So welcome everybody, and we're going to get started. I hope none of you are hungover, and if you are, so what? Playing music is the greatest cure. Now remember, you are all at your freedom to mute and unmute yourselves. Try to keep yourselves muted while I am teaching so that there's not a lot of back and forth stuff, too much distraction going on with the microphones. If you are lost, or if you have a question, or if you could not hear something that I said, please feel free. Here comes somebody else. Please feel free to unmute yourselves and just yell at me. I'm okay with it. All right, we've got some more people coming in. Wow. Good. And if you're new to our class, welcome. We love having you. It was just kind of unusual circumstances that we had to blast out that email to everybody today. What do we know about The Way We Were? Well, this was
Sung at
recorded.
my wedding,
Oh, it was sung at your wedding?
my first wedding.
Wow. Well, it's kind of a melancholy song if you think about it. It was recorded by Barbra Streisand in 1974, and it was that year's most successful recording, where it was #1 on the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles list. Now, it was also done by Andy Williams in 74, and Gladys Knight and the Pips, believe it or not, did this. Who knew? It was composed by Marvin Hamlish. Now, he's the guy that did all the ragtime stuff, so it's kind of interesting to see him doing a ballad like this. He and Streisand absolutely were head-to-head and disagreed about how to, oops, somebody else coming in, about how to compose this song. She wanted a song in a minor key. And if you know anything at all about Barbra Streisand, she took a lot of control about her songs and about her performances. I understand she was very hard to work with, but quite the detail person. She wanted everything to be absolutely perfect. She wanted a song in a minor key, but instead, Marvin Hamlish wrote it in a major key because he did not want to reveal the true meaning of the lyrics right away, which a minor key puts you in that kind of a somber mood right off the bat. And so if you read the lyrics, it kind of tells you what's going on. And if you saw the movie The Way We Were, that also tells you what's going on with this song and how they're trying to maybe go back to what they had in the past, realize they probably won't ever get there. So we'll just remember the good times and move on. And that's kind of what happened in this song. This won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. It also won the Golden Globe in 1974 and the Grammy Award for Song of the Year in 1975. Now, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what other songs were out there at this time, that same year, Seasons in the Sun, we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. Ringo Starr's Year 16, You're Beautiful in Your Mind, and then the Love Unlimited Orchestra's Love's Theme, that disco number. So that kind of gives you an idea on the timeline of where this song actually fits in. What kind of backgrounds work on this? Now here we have a lot of choices, and it really just depends on what you like. The song setup comes up to Love Ballad at 72 with the altar style. And I didn't particularly care for the sounds that he used, but I'm going to play them anyway just so you can see what song setup actually did. I also liked it on Theater Romance, if you have that, with the altar style, just because it gives it a little more movement with the altar style. Johnny Chances is also very nice with this. If you go into the soft and easy category, smooth piano 4/4 is is really, really, really very nice on this as well. And soft and easy 4/4, the one with no variation. If you're on one of the smaller instruments, your mellows, your smooths, any of those are going to work absolutely fine. All right. So now that you have an idea of what the song is about, and if you saw the movie, you absolutely know what the song is about. I'm going to add some extra chords. I think I'll play it first. And I am adding extra chords. I will give you fingering and try to follow the roadmap as we go, and then I'll explain it. But I think you guys can probably get it. Here we go, The Way We Were. Song setup. Oh, here comes somebody else. All right. Did you get the roadmap just from watching it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, let's go over it for the people that question the roadmap. Wow, we got 46 people today. That's fabulous. Okay, if you follow the lyrics, it will always take you where you need to go. And then if you follow the first and second endings, once you learn what these symbols mean, it's the same in every song. They're just going to be in different places. This one is not too terribly bad. You know that you see three sets of lyrics, so you're somehow going to have to go back to that beginning a couple of times to get every single set of lyrics. So let's follow the lyrics. Memories like the corners of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were. First ending, you see that first bracket with a 1. At the end of that, you have the pickup notes. You have 2 dots, a thin line, and a big thick line. Okay, so where that sends you is back to the beginning. Usually you're looking for the 2 dots that face forward, but if it's back to the beginning, they save the ink and they just imply that if there's no other set of dots, you're going to go all the way back to the beginning. Your pickup notes are also going to help. Scattered, second verse, pictures. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we. You might want to put a little 2 at the end of line 2 with a little color, and then a little arrow going to the second ending, which is in the middle of the third line. The second time they're going from here to here. It's not very far, just a short distance. If you need me to hold it up to the screen, I can do that. Now you're going to the bridge of the song. Remember, the bridge of the song is always the middle part that usually only gets played one time, and it's the part that's completely different from everything else. Can it be that it was all so simple then, or has time rewritten every line? If we had the chance to do it all again, oh my, would we? Could we? That's the question. That is the question of the song. Now you have two thin lines. That always designates the end of a section, and then it's going to give you some instructions. It's going to tell you what to do, where to go. Don't take that the wrong way. This one says DC al coda. That means da capo, back to the head. Capo is head in Italian. Da capo al coda. Coda is tail in Italian. So you're going from back to the head of the song, which is the beginning, and you're going to look for that two coda sign. Two coda sign. It looks like a little periscope, a little circle with a cross in it. So you're going to play the third verse. And again, follow the lyrics. Memories may be beautiful, and yet what's too painful to remember? Aha, there's the two coda sign. You might want to use a different color. Get your highlighters out and put something on that two coda. And then it's going across the page to the coda. You're going to skip over to the final ending. Coda is always the tail ending. And then finish the song. We simply choose to forget and then finish the song. Any questions on the roadmap? Not too terribly bad. Use your
Just one.
highlighters. Go ahead, David.
When we get to the DC Al Coda, and it
Uh-huh.
says go back to the beginning, you're going back to the beginning of the song and then playing to where it says to coda.
Correct.
Okay. So that color should go back to, you'd have two colors at the very front then.
Yes, you're going to have two colors at the very front. One, the same color as the end of the first ending, back to the beginning. And then you're going to have another color from the double lines, the two thin lines, first ending of line 2, the first measure of line 2, back to the beginning. So yes, you're going to have two colors if you're using your highlighters back at the beginning of the song. Then you're going to have a third color going from the two coda to the coda. Remember, we use colors because your eyes will follow the colors before they actually recognize the symbols. And if you need to put a little arrow from the two coda across the page to the coda, go ahead and do that. Cheating is 100% okay. All right. Now, very interesting that Bart Jensen did a workshop, and he talked about being in sync. And it was just another way of explaining what I tell you in completely different words. And I know some people picked up on what he did, and it all of a sudden sunk in. So, here comes somebody else. Oh, it's Claire. Come on in, Claire. So if you, the way I always say it is, find a background that you like, that you can sing the song to, and then play it the way you would sing it. It's not necessarily going to match every note that's here in the song. Why? Because this is easy play, and easy play is written for the easiest way for us to read it. If I played this exactly as written, it would sound a little bit choppy, especially in that bridge part. If I go to the bridge, let's put on a different background just for fun. Let's go to Johnny Chance's. And I'm going to play the bridge, and I'm going to play it exactly as it's written. And I don't like playing it that way. You want to play it exactly the way you would sing it, which means your timing is going to be a little different. As long as it matches your rhythm, as long as it matches your background, you're going to be right. And if those of you who aren't sure how I'm saying it, go back to YouTube and check out Bart Jensen's variety class, or his, I think he did the A's and SU's this week. And he did a really nice, interesting section on how to do a song in sync, is what he called it. He just explained it in a little different way. So here we go with the bridge exactly as it's written with the Can It Be. See how choppy that sounds? See how choppy that sounds? Because it's written so that it's easy for us to see it. Easy play music is always a guide. A guide. If you're hearing other notes, please feel free to cross them out and write in the ones that you're hearing. And if you're hearing other timing, please feel free to play it the way you would sing it, or the way you remember Miss Streisand singing it. And it comes out more like this. I'm singing it in my head, but I'm making my fingers do exactly what I'm singing in my head. Did it sound a little bit different that second time? Yep. Okay. So what's here is a good guide, but that's it. That's all it is a guide. Use it to your advantage and then change it up the way you would express it. And everybody's going to express it a little bit differently. And it's also going to depend on which background you've chosen. Which rhythm did you choose as to how it's going to fit with that rhythm? How are you going to sing it with that rhythm? You might play it, like Dennis Oss says, a little late. You might play the chord and then come in a little bit later with the voice, with this hand. And that's absolutely acceptable. No, the organ police are not going to come by and say, Sue Kelly, you did not play it the way it's written. Nobody cares. We want to hear it the way you would express it. That's what we want. All right, let's add some extra chords. I did find some really pretty ones. I think you're going to like them. The first C, get your pencils out. The first C is good for 2 counts. By the way, those of you who might be new to this class, everything I tell you for extra chords is 100% optional. Try them, see what you think. That's why we write them in pencil. If you like what's happening, play them. If it's hard for you, you might want to skip it for now and then throw it in later. So it's everything I give you from now on out is optional. But this is an intermediate advanced class, and I'm going to keep pushing you just a little bit further. The C is good for 2 counts. Over the G for rees, beat 3, put in an E minor or an E minor 7. Elephant minor, which would be E and G, elephants and gorillas.
Dawn,
Yes?
I'm sorry, I got distracted. Can you start over again?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just got started. The C is good for the 2 counts. Beat 3, which is over the G half note, is an E minor or an E minor 7, which would be D, E, and G. Dinosaurs, elephants, and gorillas. The F in the next measure, make it an F major 7. F, capital M-A-J 7. Remember, the rule for major 7s is always the letter and the very next note over, -1. The letter -1. Doesn't matter if it's a white note or a black note, it's always the next one over. So for F major 7, it's E and F at the same time. And it's a jazz type of a chord, and it's a fabulous sounding chord. Your A minor at the end of the line is good for that whole measure. Let's go to the next line. Cross out the E and replace it with F major 7. We just had that chord. F major 7, F capital M-A-J 7. Your two notes are E and F. That's good for 2 counts. Over the G for water, beat 3, put in an E minor, elephant minor. Your 2 notes are E and G. That's good for 1 count. 2 notes, but 1 count. Over the G sharp for color, beat 4. Put in an E or an E7, elephant 7. Now remember the rule for a regular 7, it is the letter -2. So the 2 notes for an E7 are D and E, dinosaurs and elephants. That just makes a real pretty chord progression. The A minor in the next measure, you may put a 7 on it. Now remember, 7s are always optional, but it just adds that flavor. And a 7 is a moving chord. It's a lead-in chord. It's going to make you feel like you're going towards the next measure, the next note or the next chord. A minor 7 is C, G, A. Chickens, gorillas, and alligators. Measure 3, cross out the G and the G7 and replace it with F major 7, which is E and F. Now you should have that chord down by the time you finish the song.
Yeah.
Beat 3 over the D dotted quarter note. Put your G back in. Put your gorilla back in. All right, let's go to line 3, the first ending. We're going to write 4 chords in that first ending, so write small. Make the C a C major 7, C capital M-A-J 7. Your 2 notes are C and B, chickens and butterflies. And I recommend you play it like this. However, if you go backwards and play it here, I see nothing. So, whatever you want to do. When you get to this level, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Your hands should be starting to go in nice little patterns in that left hand. That's good for 2 counts. Beat 3 of that first measure. Put in an A minor, alligator minor, which is C and A, chickens and alligators. The next measure, over the half rest, over that rectangle that's sitting on top of that middle line, put in a D minor or D minor 7. That's dinosaur minor. If you play the 7, it's C, D, F. If you just play the D minor, it's D and F, dinosaurs and fish. That's good for 2 counts. Oh, here comes somebody else. All right. Beat 3, which is over that quarter rest, over that little lightning streak that's in the middle of the page. G or G7, gorilla 7. That one you should know. That's F and G. Let's go over to the second ending. Make the C a C major 7, C capital M-A-J 7. You have 2 notes to play. It's always the letter -1. C and B, chickens and butterflies, for 1 measure. The last measure of that line, over that blacked-in quarter note, put in a G minor, gorilla minor, which is G and B flat, or a G minor 7 if you wish, which is F, G, and B flat, for 2 counts. Over the half rest, beat 3 in that measure. Now put in a C7, chicken 7, which is C and B flat. C and B flat. Remember, the 7s are optional.
Excuse me, Dawn.
Yes.
Where did the D minor go?
D minor is in the first ending.
Uh-huh.
Second measure, over the half rest.
Thank you.
Beat 1, yes. And then the G7 is beat 3 of that measure.
Thank you.
Okay. The bridge, the last line of the song. The F is good for one measure. The D minor is good right where it is. The E minor is good for 2 counts. Okay, here's where we start getting into some very interesting chords. Beat 3 of that last measure over the B eighth note for written. You're going to put in an E minor major 7. Ooh, E little m, capital M-A-J 7. So it's an E minor, but the 7 is going to be major, so it's a combination of the two. Your notes for that are D sharp, dinosaur sharp, E elephant, and G gorilla. At the top of the page, cross out the A and replace it with E minor 7. E minor 7, if you put the 7 in, is D dinosaur, E elephant, and G gorilla. Now, why is that important? Because what we're doing is we're playing a nice little walk down chord progression. Here's an E minor. Oop, let's get a nicer sound in this. Okay. Let's get, oh no, that's not what I want. Woo. The organ is not cooperating with me. I have too many things in here. All right. There we go. There's an E minor. Now we're going to play the E minor major 7, so you're just going to add the D sharp. You don't even have to pick up your fingers. Wow, that's a cool chord. Now we're going to pick up that D sharp and change it to a D. Wow, that just makes for a really pretty chord progression. Now at the top of the second page, there's your E minor 7, good for 2 counts. Beat 3 of that very first measure. Put your A7 back in. You can just play A if you want, or you can play A7, which is G and A. Now we're going to do the same type of progression on a different chord. So cross out the D in measure 2 and replace it with D minor, which is D and F, dinosaurs and fish, for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is the A eighth note over the word chance. Now put in a D minor major 7, same type of a chord. D little m, capital M-A-J 7. It's easier to play than it is to write, believe me. And your fingers are, your notes are C sharp, D, F. Sharp, chickens, dinosaurs, and fish. And again, you can just play the D minor and add the C sharp. The third measure, first beat over the G eighth note for the word all. Put in a D minor 7, which would be C, chicken, D dinosaur, F fish. And again, you're getting that same chord progression starting on a different chord. D minor, add the C sharp. Now change the C sharp to a C. You don't even have to pick up your other 2 fingers. Beat 3 of that measure, in between the notes actually, right after you play that F half note, right after that you're going to play a G7. Put that chord in, G7. That's the lead-in chord for the next measure, F and G. At the end of the line, put in a C major 7, C capital M-A-J 7, which is C and B, chickens and butterflies. Cross out the G in the second line and replace it. Now you got to write small because you got a lot of words in there. D minor or D minor 7 for 2 counts and G7 for 2 counts. That chord progression, D minor, G7, back to the C, is a very, very common chord progression. Your fingers should be starting to feel that just because they're doing it a lot.
So instead of the G and G7, you want the D minor 7.
D minor 7 first for
Yes.
2 counts, and then the G7 for beats 3 and
Oh,
4. So you want to put both of them in. D
Gotcha.
minor 7 for 2 counts, G7 for the other 2 counts.
Correct. Okay.
Let's go to the coda. Make the F an F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7. It's E and F. You'll have that chord down before the song is done. The E7 is good right where it is. That's D and E, dinosaurs and elephants. The A minor is good right where it is. That's chickens and alligators. Make the F at the end of the line an F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7. You're going to know that one. By the end of this song, you're going to have it down, E and F. Third line, the E minor is good right where it is. E and G. Make the F an F major 7, which is E and F. The E minor is good right where it is. Let's go to the next line. Guess what you're going to do with the F? Make it an F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7. E and F. The E minor is good right where it is. Now, cross out the D minor in the third measure and replace it with our favorite chord, F major 7, for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is over the D dotted quarter note for the word way, put in a G7, F and G. At the end of that line, make the C a C major 7, C capital M-A-J 7, which is C and B, chickens and butterflies. And the last line, make the F an F major 7, there it is. And beat 3, put in a G7. Now we have to talk about that measure. There's a mistake in this book. And then the last C at the end of the song, make it a C major 7. Okay, did anybody notice, or maybe it's not that way in all the books, but in my book, there is an error.
What?
An error in the first measure of the last line. Can anybody find it?
What did you say it is?
There's a mistake in the first measure of the last line.
Too many beats. Greg here.
There's too many beats. That is correct. They made a printing error. Okay, so the best way to make it right, what they have is they have a half rest, which is that rectangle on top of the middle line. That gets 2 counts. Then they have a quarter note. That gets 1 more. Then they have a dotted quarter note. Ooh, that gets a beat and a half more. And then they have another 1/8 note. There's 5 beats in that measure. Doesn't work. So we're going to take out the rest and replace it with a quarter rest, which is that squiggly line. And you can copy it from, there's all kinds of them. The top line has one at the end of the line, has one in the first measure. It's that squiggly line that looks like a lightning rod. So if you cross out the rectangle and replace it with a quarter rest, now it will be the right count. Got it?
Yep.
All right. All right, let's do some fingering and then we'll
Dawn?
play it again. Yes.
Excuse me, what did you add on that part there? You changed the F to the F major
F
7.
major 7, correct.
And then did you add something else?
Yes, over the D dotted quarter note for the word
Yeah.
way, which is going to be beat 3, you're
Right.
going to put G7
Okay,
and then make the last C a C major 7.
major 7. Okay, thanks.
Huh? Yep. Anybody else have any questions before I move on?
I do. I do. Greg here. The last chord at a C major 7, does that resolve itself when you push maybe something like fill and then choose an ending?
You can do that, but you don't have to resolve a major 7. That's what's cool about major 7s. If you can't end a song, or I shouldn't say never because I have seen it, when you have a 7, which is C and B flat, your ear is telling you it needs to resolve. It needs to go to the next chord. And
Precisely.
But with a C major 7, that's a jazz chord, and you can end a song on a major 7. You do not need to resolve it. Okay? So major 7. Go ahead.
Let me see if I can just pass that on to, just go one half step beyond that. If I were to end the song there, almost end it, if I end playing there and then push, I like to push fill and maybe ending too.
Okay.
And will that resolve to the C major, or does it stay at C major 7?
It's going to stay on C major 7. It's always going to be the last chord that you play. And C major 7 is fine to end a song. Now, again, use your ear to be the final judge. If you don't like how the fill-in sounds on a major 7, or you don't like how the ending sounds on a major 7, you can go ahead and change that major 7 to just a plain old C. That's totally.
Or I could do half and half.
Or you can do half and half. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the innovative thing though that you're talking about. I like this major 7 keys, and I'll shut up with that. Thank you.
I'm glad you like them, because so do I. I love the major 7s. They really add just some real pretty sounds to the music. Yep.
And I'm finding you to be exactly true when you say we will learn to do that. And I play in keys other than C major. And my fingers just go there without looking after a while.
That's the way it should be. The
So
more.
I'm happy with it.
Yes. Good. That's
Thank
good
you.
news. You're welcome.
I'm out of here.
There, you're good. You're good. The more often you play, the more often you use a chord. If you remember back to level 1, and some of you are in my level 1 class that's sitting here, C, F, and G, it took you a while for your fingers to feel comfortable just C, F, and G. Now you don't even think about it. Same thing with an A minor, same thing with a D minor. When you first put those in, you had to look. They were not comfortable. But the more often you played them, your fingers started to go naturally. It's the same thing with these extra chords. The more often you play the major 7s, the easier it is for your fingers to find them. And it's the same way that you play them every time. Don't deviate. Don't play it this way one time and this way one time. Play the one that works the best for you, and then play it that way every time, and your fingers will start to feel naturally evolving to, yes, naturally go there. I'm glad to hear that. That's good news. Wow.
Good.
Dawn,
Okay. Yes, Penny.
could you tell me the last measure on page 1? Tell me the letters by,
The E minor major 7?
yeah, what do you say, E or D?
No, E, elephant.
Okay,
Elephant minor, major 7. And your notes are sharp dinosaurs, D sharp, E elephant, and G
Yeah.
gorilla.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very
Don,
Yes.
page 2, first measure, top line. You added a second chord there?
Yes. You're going to play an E minor 7 in beat 1,
Great.
which is D dinosaur, E elephant, G gorilla for 2 counts. Then you're going to put the A7 back in,
A7. Thank you.
because that A7 leads into the next measure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? We had a lot of chords today.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some fingering, then I'm going to play it again for you. Fingering, A3, G2. Now write your fingering in pencil, because if your fingers don't like what mine do, you're free to erase and change them. A3, G2, G2, A3, C5, B4, A3, G2, E1. Second line. Now, there's 2 different ways to do this line. They both work. Try this way first. D2 with a circle, which means you're going to cross it over. E1, put that 1 right back down on that E. G3, E1, G sharp 3, E1, B5. That's not the only way you can play that. So play around with it and get your fingers comfortable, and then you can erase mine and put your own in, as long as it's making pretty music. A4. D can either be 1 or 2, whichever one's more comfortable. Make the E a 3. D2, C1. First ending E3. Your pickup notes are C1, E2. Now, that might be a little bit of a problem going back to the beginning of the song where you have an A3 and a G2. So what I did is on top of the note, I put a little 5 in parentheses, which means the second time. And over the G, I put a little 4 in parentheses. That means that's the second time I'm playing it. So it's going to be a C1, E2, A5, G4. Then you can lift your hand and do the next phrase. Okay, so sometimes your first time and your second time are a little bit different with fingers to make it more comfortable. Let's go to the second ending. The E is 3. Now let's go to the bridge. Low C1, all those high Cs are 5s. And remember, this is the one you're going to play the way you feel it. B4, B4, A3, A3. Low B1, all the high Bs are 5s. Again, play it the way you sing it, play it the way you feel it, not necessarily the way it's written. A4, G3. Top of the page, B5. Low C1, all the A's are 4s. G3, A4, G3, F2, F2, A4, G3, E1, G3. Second line, first measure, D1, G3, check mark. Now the check mark just is a visual clue that you're going to lift your hand and reposition it someplace else. At the beginning of the coda, put a check mark. Same thing, you're going to reposition your hand. A1, B2, C3, B2, E5, D4, C3, check mark. Take a breath with your hand, reposition it. C4, B3, A2, A2, G1. Second measure of the third line, E5, D4, C3, A2, G1. Next line, E4, F5, E4, D3, C2, A1, G2. Put a circle around the 2. That's just a visual clue that you're going to cross over. After that held G, after the tie, put a check mark. Again, you're going to lift your hand and put it in a new position. E3, D2, C1, E3. The last measure, the last line I should say, E3, D2, C1, E3. Any questions? I did that kind of fast. You got them?
Yep.
Wow, good for you guys. That's awesome. Okay, now, Theater Romance came out nice, and Johnny Chances came out nice, and then Smooth Piano came out nice. How much time do I have? I don't have that much time. I will play the first part on Theater Romance on the altar style. All right, now I'm going to change it to the Smooth Piano 4/4, just because I can. Then you can play that line again. So lots of different choices that you have on rhythms and sounds, and do not be afraid to experiment and try what works for you, and then just mark where you want to change your sounds. If you want to go to the lower keyboard, put an L. If you're on rhythm preset 0, RP0, U meaning upper, L meaning lower, whatever works the best for you, because we're creatures of vision. If we see it, we're going to remember, aha, that's where I need to change a sound. But
Dawn, when you switch to a different style, do you have to lock in the tempo?
I had them in presets already.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you're switching to a different style, I did that just to show you the different style. You can switch styles in the middle of a song if you want. And
And-
if you are changing buttons, pushing buttons, what we call on the fly without stopping it, you don't have to lock in the tempo. It's going to keep the same tempo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're on a soft and easy, and you're on this smooth piano 4/4, and you're at 72, and you feel like switching to a smoky lounge, you just touch it, and it stays at 72. Or if you wanted to go to soft country, you just touch it, and it'll stay at 72. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can actually explore using different rhythms within a same
Right.
song.
So you don't have to lock in the tempo
You do
stays
not
the
need to
same.
lock
Okay.
it in if you're not stopping it. Yep, good
Thanks.
question. All right. Any other questions today?
Wow.
Wow, it's a beautiful song. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Next week we will do The Way You Look Tonight. I know that's in a lot of books too. Oh, and and White Christmas is coming up too. We can skip that if you want, but we can also do it if you want. That'll be in January, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the book and start over. So next week we'll do The Way You Look Tonight. Really fun song.
Did we do
Can you
Unchained Melody last week?
Did we do what?
Unchained Melody last week?
I think we skipped it only because it's been in so many books. We have done this one 100 times in every book, and it was in the songbooks too.
Well, not all of us have done it 100 times.
Okay. Well, I'd be happy to scan you the song.
Okay,
I can do that for you. Yeah.
thank you.
Oops, I'm not supposed to say that on Zoom.
Would you do that for me too? I'm Greg.
Email me at 5028@fletchermusic.com and ask me any questions and let me know what you want. I have to be very careful about what I say on Zoom.
So we're doing The Way You Look Tonight.
Yes.
Next time.
Yes. So if you don't have this book and you want to find it in another song, please feel free to find it.
And could you refresh me what the book number is that you're actually using?
Yes, the book we are using is number 134. It's the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs.
Okay.
It's all movie songs. It's a cool book. Well, Happy New Year to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the weekend, and hopefully by Monday, all of all of my stuff will be on the website. If it's not, okay, I will have to go to Robert and ask him to do the same thing and blast everybody the links. So we'll keep an eye on that. But
And hopefully we'll get a vaccine.
oh yes, I know, I know.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey, Dawn, Greg here. This is my first time in here,
Oh,
and
okay.
I fit right in. I've got a marquee,
Nice.
and out of Sun City. I want to say, of all the people that have taught, you are so head and shoulders above everybody else.
Oh, you are the
Wow.
same thing. Thank you. Thank you. I
We agree.
personally this is my passion. More than anything, I love the teaching. I really do.
Thank you.
It's
It
imperative.
goes.
Thank you, Greg.
It's glaringly obvious.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Well, Greg, wait till you hear her
Go
sing.
Alabama.
I have heard her. I have heard her sing, as a matter of fact. And the only two things I have left to really begin on is to learning to sing when I play, and then learning to use my feet when I play.
Ah,
And there won't be anything left of me.
well,
Uh-uh.
that's one thing I don't do. I don't teach pedals. I was not an organ player by trade. I was a keyboard player by trade, and so when I was in a band, I had my keyboards on stands, and I was standing, and I was dancing with my feet. So I was dancing while I was. So no, I don't play any pedals.
I'll just share a very brief anecdote with you, if I may.
Go ahead.
I've been doing music all my life, and I read music, and I've directed choirs and things like that. I quit keyboard when I was 12 years old, decided to chase sports and skirts, and didn't do very well at either. And I came back to it, and at the moment, I may not look it, but I'm 83
Oh my God.
and still riding a motorcycle. But
Oh.
I have learned so much just sitting and playing at my organ. It comes naturally to me, and it's such a good feeling.
That's nice.
And I've got a wife at home who's not particularly well, which keeps me home more than I otherwise. I'd be on a golf course and what have you. And this is my pastime, and
This
it
is your
is
heart.
a way
Yes.
to.
Yeah.
Without music, I'm nothing.
Right.
Thank you.
That's,
Thank you all
Most of
so
us
much.
feel that way. Absolutely. Most of us
Thanks
feel
for
that way.
joining,
This is
Greg.
our heart. This is our passion. This
Yeah.
is what we do.
Right.
Thank you. You guys are
Very good.
fabulous. I love you all, and welcome to all the new people that happened on us today because of all the messing around we had to do with getting the website coordinated. Thank you guys, and I love you all, and we'll see you again.
Happy New
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Year.
Happy New Year, Don.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy